A local woman says it happened to her child and it can happen to yours. 1 in 40 children will be victimized by identity theft.
And once that happens, it is not an easy fix. 13 News anchor Janet Roach joins us with her troubleshooter report, one that every parent should listen to.
David and Regina, you know there's a problem when your 10-year-old has a mortgage in his name. It could be a family member, a friend, or a perfect stranger preying on your child's clean credit report. One local woman has spent the last year trying to clear her son's name.
And you will never know until your child is of age and goes to apply for something.
This woman feels the best way for her to talk about identity theft is to, well, conceal her identity. She doesn't want anyone to recognize her as she talks about how someone stole her son's ID.
He went to a credit union to take out a loan to try to build his credit when he turned 18.
Her son was denied. Then the surprising discovery.
There were multiple derogatory things on his credit. Cell phone bills from when this kid was 10 years old, so there's no way that he could have taken the accounts out. Medical bills. There was a judgment against him as a 10-year-old.
It appears her son's Social Security number was stolen long before he was even old enough to drive. Then came a laborious process of trying to repair the damage.
I contacted all the credit agencies. I was told I had to file a police report in order to get anything taken off his credit.
Child identity theft has grown 300% in the past 5 years.
As those numbers started stacking up, Joe Mason with Identity Guard was busy writing this book, Bankrupt at Birth. And listen up, because he's about to talk about what every parent needs to hear.
All a thief really needs to create an identity is a Social Security number.
In fact, they don't even need your child's name, just the clean credit record attached to the number. They can create a name, address, and date of birth. That's called synthetic ID theft.
It's logical to then say, well, don't the banks, don't the credit bureaus know that this is a synthetic identity? The answer is unfortunately not.
And that's just one way a child's ID is stolen. 1 in 40 kids will be a victim this year. You know those information forms you so willingly fill out?
We're conditioned to think that if we're handed a clipboard with a form on it, that we have to fill out every single piece of information that's on that form.
Right.
Well, guess what? You do that enough, and you're going to have information about your child in a lot of hands.
Before you write a word or number, Mason says, ask why is the information needed? How are they going to protect it? If the data is lost or fraud occurs, how will you be notified? In this lady's case, the theft of her son's ID wasn't discovered until many years later. That's usually the case. But here's what you can do. Don't ignore red flags.
One of the red flags is credit applications that they may receive in the mail, that you scratch your head and you say, wait a second, how did this bank or this financial institution get my child's information?
Or has your child gotten a call from a collection agency? Before your child turns 16, check to see if there's a credit file created in his name. That's a strong sign something's gone awry.
It's a headache.
Eventually, this lady's son changed his name to get from under the shadow of the ID thief. Extreme measures for what she hopes will now be peace of mind. Well, you don't have to go that far if this happens to your child. The first thing you need to do is file a police report. Mason says it takes about a year to clear the victim's name, and we have a lot more information in this story on WVEC.com, including links to how you can check to see if there is a credit file created in your child's name, and more ways to protect yourself. Janet Roach, 13 News.